The only answer to oligarchy is organizing. The only answer to authoritarianism is grassroots democracy. People all over the country are looking for that fight, and they can see us right here on the Capitol grounds in the heart of darkness. But here in Austin, Texas, we're a shining light.
That was Democratic Congressman Greg Castro of Texas at one of several Fight the Trump takeover protests taking place all over the country today. People have been pushing back against Trump's mid-decade gerrymander amid rising fears of unchecked authoritarian power in the U.S. It comes as Texas Democrats are preparing to head back home after a 2-week break and quorum break. And just as redistricting efforts are ramping up in California and a number of other states. Joining us now, Congressman Joaquin Castro of Texas. He's also a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight. House Speaker Dustin Burrows had strong words for your colleagues as they all prepare to head back home soon. Let's take a listen, and I want to get your thoughts on the other side.
Those who have refused to make quorum, I'm sure you're missing home. Do not think you have permission to return to Texas and enjoy a peaceful weekend before finally showing up to work. DPS will remain active and civil arrest warrants will be reissued. If you are located, you will be compelled to this chamber.
Are Democrats prepared right now, Congressman, for the road ahead and legal peril?
No, absolutely. And I mean, let me be clear about something. The Speaker of the House, the Governor of Texas are complicit with Donald Trump in trying to steal 5 congressional seats in Texas. They are trying to steal 5 Democratic seats and take them and give them to Republicans. And so I'm very proud of our state representatives in Texas who went to Chicago to stop Donald Trump from messing with Texas. I was part of the group in 2003 that left the state to Ardmore, Oklahoma to try to stop at that time House Majority Leader Tom DeLay from accomplishing the same thing. They took, I think, at that time about 6 seats. And the mistake we made is that none of the Democratic governors back then responded. And so they obviously thought that they could come back and do it again and that there would be no response. This time, Gavin Newsom, Governor Pritzker, and others are proving that Democrats are going to fight back.
To that point, Congressman, we are seeing more and more support coming from the Democratic establishment, if you will. We've heard from former Attorney General Eric Holder. We've heard from former President Obama, who've both offered encouraging words to those state house reps in Texas and to the party at large. What do you think is next in terms of this fight, given that it does seem to be generating the type of momentum that could be helpful to Democrats if they can galvanize more and more of their base around this issue?
Well, that's a great question, because in 2004, after the 2003 mid-decade redistricting or gerrymandering, in the Texas legislature, for example, we actually picked up a bunch of seats. And so part of the benefit of state house Democrats in Texas doing this is that it raises the stakes. It helped get other Democratic governors to engage and offer to do redistricting themselves if necessary. But it also lets the American people know that these folks are trying to steal congressional seats. And I'll tell you, I don't want to replace 5 Democrats with 5 Republicans who vote against cancer research, who vote to cut Affordable Care Act subsidies, who vote to cut Medicaid, who talk about cutting Social Security and Medicare for people. We don't need to replace 5 Democrats in Texas with 5 Republicans who are going to do every single thing that one man, Donald Trump, tells them to do.
So let me play for you what Gavin Newsom, governor of California, somebody who's obviously responded to what has happened in Texas very aggressively. Let me play for you what he has said about these efforts and what he's doing in his state, and I'll get your thoughts on the other side. Take a listen.
We're putting the maps on the ballot, and we're giving the power to the people. This will be the first redistricting that's ever done that. That's the difference. We tried to raise the standards, and these guys are not playing by any set of rules. So this time requires us to act anew, not just think anew.
So a bold move by the governor of California there, and certainly an important one, as you said, to kind of take the fight nationally, if you will, even though what is happening in Texas is just happening to Texas. But the concern is if that doesn't pass in California, if for some reason that amendment doesn't pass and they can't add those 5 new representatives, Democratic representatives, where do things go from there?
Well, I hope that other Democratic governors and states will look at doing the same thing. But let's be clear about something: is there could be irreparable harm done, not just to Texas, but to the country, if this kind of mid-decade gerrymandering, and Texas is already badly gerrymandered, but if it's allowed to continue, because look, I don't think it ends here, quite honestly. I think if let's just say that Texas redraws the maps, and they try to take those 5 districts. If Republicans and Donald Trump don't get the results they want, he will demand that the Texas legislature come back after the election and do it all over again.
As Texas Republicans renew their push to get congressional lines redrawn in their favor ahead of the 2026 midterms, Democrats are now moving forward with plans to offset any potential gains in California. California Democrats unveiling a new map that would strip Republicans of 5 of the 9 seats they currently hold in the deep blue state. State lawmakers plan to hold hearings and a vote to put the new maps on the ballot next week. CNN correspondent Julia Vargas Jones is joining us right now from Los Angeles. Julia, what more are you learning?
Well, look, Fred, the Democrats are saying that this new map they're proposing allows for more compact districts, that it keeps more communities together, so splits fewer cities in California, and it makes minimal disruptions to the old map. They really are looking at about 43 Democratic seats, stay with me, and 9 Republican seats, and going over to 48 to 5 seats, right? California is matching exactly the number of seats that Texas Republicans want to add, virtually trying to make their redistricting efforts a moot point. And you may say it's only those 5 seats out of more than 400, but the majority in these is so thin that these California seats will matter. The breakdown is at about 219 to 212, so those 5 seats will make a difference. And why are we having this gerrymandering battles? Because President Trump wants to do more. He wants to do more legislatively to have more wins and enact his policy. So he will need those 5 seats. But California Republicans are saying that they will fight for their party and that these are so Doug LaMalfa right there, we just saw his photo up there. He particularly just took to X yesterday to say that this was unacceptable, calling this a naked politics at its worst, asking how is it that Modoc County in the Nevada and Oregon border, I'm sorry, I'll ask us to bring that up, have anything in common with Marin County and the Golden Gate Bridge. He's talking about a district right above his, that's California District 2 in the proposed maps, that is stretching all up into Northern California. Now, that's a question for Governor Gavin Newsom to try to answer in the coming days.
And then how is the governor trying to, sell his plan to voters?
Well, he's taken a page out of President Donald Trump. Over the past 24 hours, the governor has been extremely vocal in poking fun at the style of the president. He had a press conference on Thursday where he announced that these changes were coming, Fred. And then he also took to X and posted a post that says, many people are saying, and I agree, that I, Gavin C. Newsom, deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. Why? Because of the most incredible maps in the history of mapping. Even Columbus. Now, this is quite clear, the governor's campaign, I should say his press office, poking fun at the president. And
Questions today about when Texas state Democrats who fled the state in protest of a Republican redistricting plan will come home to the Lone Star State. Earlier this week, Democrats said they'll come back if Texas Republicans end a special session and California releases its own redrawn map proposal. California Governor Gavin Newsom unveiled their potential plan Friday, which was already dismissed by Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
For him to be able to get anything passed, he has to have 2/3 of the state agree with him on it. It's a joke. He's posturing for the presidency and doing nothing more than that. He's all talk and no action.
Joining me now is Texas State Representative John Busey III. So thank you for being here, sir. Look, you got your proposal from California. You got national attention, but your governor is not backing down. Yesterday, he called not one but two special sessions in an attempt to get the new map passed and said he's going to keep doing it over and over again. So what happens now?
You know, Governor Greg Abbott has shown he's full of hot air. He has threatened us. He's had his supporters make bomb threats against us. They've come with lawsuits. They've sent police after us, and none of it worked. And so what did he do? He folded. He ended the special session early. He knew none of that would work. We've heard from Republican lawmakers back in Texas, like Brian Harrison, talking about how Greg Abbott is just lying. It's all been bluster. Now we're seeing online that his supporters are realizing that this is a weak man. If he was a strong man, he'd be standing up for the people of Texas. But instead, he's bending the knee for Donald Trump and doing whatever the bidding is from his master in the White House. And this is totally unacceptable. We need Greg Abbott to lead for the people of Texas.
Your colleague, State Rep Ann Johnson, announced she's heading home, writing in part, "I'm returning to Texas to continue the fight from the floor of the House." Is this then the prevailing sentiment among Texas Dems?
Look, I think Texas Democrats are going to keep all options on the table. We're going to continue to have conversations, and most importantly, we're going to continue to fight. What that fight looks like may change from day to day, but we're going to fight, and most importantly, we need the American people to fight back. I'm so proud that Governor Newsom in California are stepping up and answering the call. We need this to happen across all 50 states. This country is worth fighting for, and we have to stop Donald Trump's authoritarian takeover.
So look, as you're mulling over what's happened or what will happen next, when you're talking about what's happened as well, Republicans are ramping up their threats. Let's listen to what the Texas House Speaker just said yesterday after hearing Democrats may return to Texas this weekend before Monday's session. Here it is.
And the Republicans are losing in Texas because every seat they're trying to, undemocratically gerrymander away, Democrats in California are going to fight back. And here's the thing, folks. The Democratic map that's being proposed, that could be tilted more. And look, I'm against gerrymandering. But Democrats are only responding. And so they will hand them losses. And again, I've talked about this. In Congress, what really matters is who has more seats in the House. Like when it comes to the House, is who has more seats. And so if you're a backbench Republican, even if you keep your seat in Texas or you gain an extra seat or two in Texas, but the Democrats outperform you based both on them fighting back against your scheme, but also voters being sick of having Donald Trump and his party in power only 2 years in, and I think that'll happen, then a Democratic speaker will be elected, whether it's Hakeem Jeffries or whoever else it is, right? And then you'll lose. You'll lose your committee chair spot. If you're a chairman of a committee or chairwoman of a committee, you'll lose your seat. You'll lose your power. You'll lose your ability to have influence. You'll just be back to screaming about random stuff. When Biden was in power and you didn't have the House and you acted like total and complete children, although, guys, I should be clear, children are much better behaved and more thoughtful than these bunch of fools, right? And so this move should terrify Republicans because Democrats have made it clear that they're not going to follow a one-sided disarmament. If you want to ban gerrymandering, it gets banned everywhere. Until then, put your dukes up.